bro. I'm over here counting this bread. I keep the faces down. It don't matter. It don't matter. Good day, everyone. Peace and love. Today we have a special treat. We have Brother Abdulla Bey coming through, and we are about to discuss the book Moors and Masonry Part 2, which will be coming this November. So without further ado, let's bring Brother Abdulla Bey on. Peace, Brother Abdullah. How are you doing today?
Peace, Brother DJ. Thank you. Thank you for having me. I greatly appreciate your work you've been doing and for offering this platform to me so I can speak to the people about my upcoming book and to give them insight on principles of international law, the law of nations, which is public international law.
Which I will, first off, thank you for coming on once again. I just had you on Clubhouse. That was your first time on Clubhouse, and we had a great build. We had a couple people ask some questions, and we also were able to have a few teachable moments there on the platform. And I hope that everybody was able to take away some good information from that. We will be uploading the audio, that way people can access that particular dialogue with other people as well. But yeah, the importance of international law, just based on my discussions I've been having with you and my knowledge and also my family lineage, I understand how pertinent it is that we actually operate in this capacity. And I feel like it's really the only way to go, because why are you asking for permission from someone who doesn't necessarily have your best interest at heart? And I feel like on an equal field, everyone has a vested interest in order to maintain equality across the board, versus when you're dealing underneath a secondary umbrella as the United States is established right now. So I feel like why not just go to the top just to make it plain? And that's what I feel like we do when we deal with international law. You go to the top tier, and then you can take that information and you can give notice to the secondary jurisdictions.
Absolutely.
So that's my stance on it. But I know that I have the summary for Moors and Masonry. So I am going Moors and Masonry 2. So I'm about to pull that up, and then we're going to review that. Add this to the stream.
Yes.
I am lagging a little bit.
Yeah, I didn't put in the subtitle, which we'll add in the reading.
Okay, I got so many programs open on my computer. I'm closing some of the other ones out right now because it had me lagging. Okay, so let's get to the document. Still stuff. All right, can you see the document, Brother Abdullah?
Yeah, yes, I can.
Okay, book summary for Moors and Masonry Part 2. Moors and Masonry Part 2 analyzes the diplomatic treaty relationship.
The subtitle.
Go ahead.
The subtitle is the power of Moorish treaties and the recovery of lost Moorish sovereignty. That's the subtitle.
Okay, so that's the subtitle. Then let's get into the context. Moors and Masonry Part 2 analyzes the diplomatic and treaty relations between the Moroccan Empire and the United States from 1777 to 1815 in the context of this extensive diplomatic and treaty. My screen is lagging. I'm trying to scroll. Diplomatic and treaty relationships, military engagements, captivity, ransom payments, annual tribute payments that the Moroccan Empire engaged with France, England, Great Britain, the Netherlands, Dutch Republic, Sweden, Spain, Portugal, Denmark, Sardinia, Belgium, and the United States during the 1600s, 1700s, and 1800s. The book also examines the period of over 100 years of Moors attempting to recover lost Moorish sovereignty and to bring the Moroccan Empire out of her 200-year period of temporary political extinction / disintegration collapse due to the European conquest and colonization by using the United States Constitution and laws, United States departments and agencies, the United States courts. The reader will come to learn that this approach is erroneous, misdirection, and not in harmony with the principles of law of nations, public international law. With regard to the recovery of lost Moorish national sovereignty and restoration of Moorish statehood, succession, change of sovereignty, and re-entering the international community of nations as an old and original state under the principles of reversion to sovereignty and Postliminium, restoration of Moorish territorial
Postliminium.
Restoration of Moorish territorial sovereignty, Moorish personality. Personality of law and Moorish state responsibility, as well as reestablishment of diplomatic treaty relations with European nations with which the Moroccan negotiated treaties between
Empire.
You said the Moroccan Empire negotiated treaties between
Empire.
The 1500s and 1800s, reinforcement of the Moorish capitalization, extraterritorial consular jurisdiction vested in the Moorish bilateral treaties. These political processes, in accordance with the principles of the law of nations, public international law, and recovery of a state law sovereignty due to European colonization and conquest, would be raising in the Moorish flag politically. The Moorish flag has not been raised politically by the Moors, who are autonomous, native, original, indigenous, and aboriginal to the land of Turtle Island / Moroccan Empire, known to the world as North America, South America, Central America, and the adjoining islands. The act of the native Moors physically raising the Moorish flag does not constitute a political raising of the Moorish flag. Let's bring the Moroccan Empire out of her 200-year of political. I really need this. My screen won't move.
200-year period.
Political extinction, disintegration, collapse. Let's raise our Moorish flag politically once again. All right, hopefully
that is a mouthful, but like I said, that these principles, this is a gradual process of introducing these international law principles to our people in regards to recovery of lost Moorish sovereignty. We have to come to understand these terms and these concepts and procedures and applications relating to the recovery of lost Moorish sovereignty. All right, as you read there, DJ, the erroneous attempt over the period of 100 years of conscious Moors attempting to recover lost Moorish sovereignty by using United States Constitution, United States laws, United States departments, United States agencies. That is absolutely erroneous.
When we just think about jurisdiction, and that's one of our demographics' favorite things to bring up is what's the jurisdiction? What's the jurisdiction? You're dealing in a federal jurisdiction. When the empire itself was larger than a federal jurisdiction, it was international. It's
foreign jurisdiction.
It's the lacking of common sense, what it seems like.
It's a foreign jurisdiction. It's a foreign jurisdiction. And we're talking about the recovery of our lost sovereignty. Mm-hmm. I understand. We're not talking about going to a court to address a dispute. We're talking about recovery of our lost sovereignty. We're talking about putting our mother back together. I'm going to the one who conquered me to put my mother back together. That's right. We're talking about resuscitating our mother. We're talking about going into the hospital into a foreign jurisdiction that brought my mother to her knees. That's conquest. So you don't address the conquest, the dismantling of the Moroccan Empire by going to United States courts, United States agencies, using United States Constitution, using United States laws. That is not in harmony with how a nation who, due to conquest or subjugation, is dismantled, disintegrated, collapsed, restores their sovereign power. That's not how it's done. There's nothing in international law, there's nothing that someone can show me 100 years ago, 1,000 years ago, 500, 200, any time period of that procedure of going. That's not how you recover lost sovereignty, or how you restore a nation that's been on a conquest. There are principles in international law. The overarching principle is called the recovery. It's called the recovery of lost sovereignty. And then there are procedures relating to that. So I wanted to introduce the public with these terms of the law nation in regards to recovery of lost sovereignty. We're bringing our mother out of collapse, extinction, restoring our mother. I mean, putting Humpty Dumpty back together. Humpty Dumpty, and Humpty Dumpty is an egg. An egg. So that's what? The feminine principle. A nation is tied to the feminine principles. So Humpty Dumpty being the egg, the ancient feminine principles, the ancient matriarchal principles of ancient civilization, and also the principles of a nation being feminine. All right, this is why nations are referred to as she. So Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All right, all the king horses and all the king's men could not put Humpty Dumpty back together again. All right, well, we have to put Humpty Dumpty back together again. I mean, the egg that fell off the wall means our mother, the Moroccan Empire, that was dismantled due to European conquest. Spain, France, the Netherlands, the Dutch Republic, England / Great Britain, Sweden, Denmark, Belgium, Sardinia. Right, so we have to put her back together again. You don't do that by going to using United States Constitution, using United States laws, United States courts, United States agencies, United States departments. Understand what am I saying? Putting our mother back together again, recovery our lost more sovereignty, restore her, so as we can re-enter the international community as an old and original state, restore to where she was before European conquest. And that is called Postliminium. Postliminium is the restoration process of a nation and a people placed under subjugation and captured due to war. Postliminium is the category in international law. You have peace and war, so it falls in the category of war in international law. You recover as if you, to the point and extent as if you had never been conquered, which means that we finance and military, education, as if that you can operate and move on as if you had not been conquered. Of course, there's effective conquest because it's mental. Of course, you're going to have effective conquest, but be able to recover from that, be able to put us back on the level, all right, where where there is a great recovery and restoration, so that though the effects will be there mentally, but we will have the economic, political, and military strength and power. That's Postliminium. We have to understand. We got to place this. We have to place DJ this Moorish movement in its proper context. It has not been. It had not been on its proper footing.
So, before we get into the how to, I want to get. I have some questions about the book, because for me, the book is one of the talking about Masonry, is one of the working tools that you should be utilizing in order to, you know, sculpt out this perfected situation. So when it comes to that particular working tool of Moors and Masonry 1 and 2, can you explain the reasoning for the part 2 being necessary, and like kind of like the difference in the education aspect?
That's a great, excellent question, DJ. Yes, the need for part 2. I was doing research for part 1, and that began in 1998. Actually 95 with that study. Taj Bey introduced to me George Washington's letter in 1993, in this October or November of 1993. George Washington letter dated December 1st, 1789 to Muhammad ibn Abdullah, Emperor of Morocco, from the period of 1757 up until his death, 1791. That was the extent of his reign. And reading that letter, read it several times, and George Washington apologizes to Muhammad ibn Abdullah, Emperor of Morocco, for his late response, for not keeping up with regular correspondence, and thanked the emperor for acknowledging the United States and for giving friendly ties and relationship, you know, and for the friendly overture dealing with the Treaty of Peace and Friendship between His Imperial Majesty, Emperor of Morocco, and the United States, signed by Muhammad ibn Abdullah, our emperor, in June of 1786, and signed by the United States and Congress Assembly in January 1787, and ratified by the United States and Congress Assembly in July 1787. So he thanked Muhammad ibn Abdullah, and also thanked Muhammad ibn Abdullah for intervening and assisting in Captain Proctor. Captain Proctor had been captured by us in 1788. So Muhammad ibn Abdullah was very instrumental, as he recognized the United States in 1777. What was happening is that, and I didn't know this at the time that I was reading the letter. So let me just stay where I was at the time I was reading the letter. So I don't, you know, because these things I found out later on. So in reading the letter and analyzing it over the period of several months, you know, it came to me like, wow, he's referencing previous events. So, you know, in my mind, my research mind was, well, I want to know what led up to this letter. And I want to know, I want to be able to discuss the chronology in detail. I wanted to place the letter in its broader historical and political context. So that mindset, and I raised a series of questions, would be called hypotheses, that led me on my journey to do this lifetime research and study of Moors and Masonry, part 1. I mean, it's been an arduous task, a labor of love. All right, you know, you're talking about going back to 1995, and this is most of my, you know, I was 27 years old. 27 years old in 1995, 27 years old. I'm 54 now. So you're talking about a large period of my adult life. You know, so in fact, when I was 25 when I met Taj Bey. 25 and a half. And I'm at Abdulla Bey. So this has been a lifelong journey for me. And like I said, as I said before, a labor of love, you know. So that's where my mindset was. And then continuing with your question, to further answer your question, that my mindset, this research expanded my mind. You know, it allowed me to take the George Washington letter and it's the understanding of it by placing it in this broad historical context, even going back to 1600s. Now, why that? Because the treaties, the Moorish treaties that between Morocco and England, and the treaties between England and Algiers, the treaty between Tunis and England, the treaty between Tripoli and England, protected the English merchants and their ships and sailors, sailing from the British English colonies on Moorish soil to England and the Mediterranean. So the English subjects, sailors and merchants, were protected under those Moorish treaties. So now we're looking at it, placing that letter now, George Washington letter, in that broader historical context. See, what I realized, DJ, was when you read scholars that write about the diplomatic relations between the Moroccan Empire and the United States, they don't mention those Moorish bilateral treaties protecting the English merchants and ships. Like they cut that off, as if they start with 1777. They start with December 1777, when Muhammad ibn Abdullah recognized the United States. But that's erroneous to start there.
You said 1777, but the treaty wasn't in place till 1786, right?
No. What I'm getting at, DJ, is that they leave out the Moorish treaties between Morocco and England. That's what I'm talking about. That's talking about Moorish treaties between Morocco and England during the 1600s and 1700s that protected the English merchant. When the British subjects revolted against their mother, those Moorish treaties no longer protected them. You had what's called navigational passes. Mm-hmm. And those so what they did was England canceled the navigational passes when the British subjects revolted against her. So they were naked. Mm-hmm. They were naked now. They had no protection. So they're now seeking, they're in war against their mother, no protection. Because those treaties no longer protected them, because they're now enemies of their mother. All right, they're in rebellion.
So you have to go back and establish a new relationship with another nation, because technically you're trying to be a new nation now.
Right. So with those, you have scholars who do not mention that. That's a very important piece. I mean, that you cannot analyze the diplomatic relations and treaty relations between the Moroccan Empire and the United States in isolation. That is erroneous. You must look at it in chronology. What led to that? What was the relationship between Morocco and her and their mother? Very important. So this is what I do in Moors and Masonry Part 2. I do not isolate it. So I make that connection.
That's important because it's been lacking in historical context within our community. It is not beneficial for people who are citizens of the United States for them to understand what the United States did for them to get in that position, because it makes the United States look weak.
I got you. So, but it makes us powerful. It makes the subjects, Moors powerful, because once you understand who you are as a people, not just saying you're Moor, not when I say who you are as a people, I'm not just saying, well, you know, you're Moor. All right. I'm talking about the history, the philosophy, the culture, the treaty relations, the treaties that protect you. We're talking about in that broader sense. Because you just knowing you're Moor, I mean, that's a first step. So I'm not minimizing that. That's not minimizing that, because that's very important, because that's a foundational, that's a cornerstone of development. But then we have to expand on that. We can't rest in our laurels. Right? Because we've got to talk about restoring political structure so that we can protect, you know, our people, bring our people back home.
Okay.
Back home
with
politically.
That being said,
my question. So let me qualify, say back home. We are home. This is our land. We are home. Geographically speaking, we are home. But we're not home jurisdictionally. We're not home politically. We are home physically. All right. I mean, we're not on our land, but we're not home politically, which means we're being subjugated under foreign powers, Spain and Portugal and France and the Netherlands, on our own land. So we're not home politically. We mean that we're not protected under Moorish sovereignty and under the Moorish flag and under the protection of a Moorish government. We're not that. We're not there. So we have what DJ read, that the Moorish flag has not been raised politically by us, physically, but not politically. So we have to raise the Moorish flag politically. I just want to articulate with clarity what I mean, that we got to come back home.
I concur. My question then will be, how can the utilization of the bilateral treaties from the 1500s on out, how can this be beneficial? Like, how can somebody like me, average Joe Smo, I'm clearly not talking about me, I'm just, but I don't think I'm average. That's what I'm saying.
No, you're not, but we understand the point, though.
Yeah, but how can I learn to benefit from utilizing these type of treaties? And
all right.
Yeah, the bilateral treaties of the international ones mainly. I'm not talking about those over here on the United States land.
All right. Let me reference a case. An international law case, that was presented in you have the representative Salon and re-entering the international community was classified by the International Law Commission of the United Nations General Assembly of the law of secession with respect to treaties as a new state. This was in 1968. The representative of Ceylon challenged the false claim that Ceylon is a new state. He referenced the 19th century diplomatic relations that Ceylon had with nations, proving that Ceylon is not a new state, and that Ceylon, under the reversion to sovereignty, should be classified as an old and original state. All right? As the representative Ceylon did in 1968, so we can do the same thing. We can even use that to show, because I'm showing something has been done already. All right? Because this is, just being logical here, showing what another nation did to counter the claim as a new state. Meaning that we can use those treaties that I have in Moors and Masonry Part 1, this extensive diplomatic relations, wars, and and treaty relations and engagements and ransom payments. We can use this extensive diplomatic relations with France and Spain, and Belgium, and England / Great Britain, and the Dutch Republic, and Sweden, to show that Moors historically, we've been setting historical foundation and political foundation, using the treaties as our stage as an old and original state, that we're older than most of the nation states that are members of the United Nations. We're older than most of the member states. We're older than all of the new states in South America. They're Moors, but they're not protected under Moorish sovereignty. All those nation states in Central America and South America, those are new states. They're not protected under Moorish sovereignty, all right? They're tied to Spain. They're tied to Spain. Why? Because go into Terra Divina. Into Terra Divina, Pope Alexander VI, 1493. Keep in mind, those Moors have not declared their Moorish nationality. They have not declared their Moorish nationality. So they have not claimed their consanguinity, blood tie to the land and to Moorish sovereignty. They making claim on a new nation state, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Dominica, Cuba, Colombia. Well, remember Spain, so since they have not restored Moorish sovereignty, Spain still has jurisdiction, because Spain is the occupying sovereign under, remember, we're talking under occupation and discovery. The doctrine of discovery, Spain, they do not have the sovereign claim. They have the occupational sovereign claim. The Moors have the sovereign claim, but they're not claiming to be Moors. They claim to be Dominicans, Cubans, Nicaraguans. So therefore, they don't have the sovereign claim. So since the sovereigns of the land aren't making a claim to the land and restoring Moorish sovereignty, Spain still to this very day has occupational sovereign claim.
That's pretty much that's an adverse possession. You abandon the property, they were able to legally come in underneath their statutes and codes and take it.
Because the sovereigns of the land has not claimed it. It's
been abandoned. That's legally what it is. That the land has been abandoned.
They're not,
because you've taken another identity and that individual isn't present.
Absolutely. The sovereigns of the land are not Colombians. The sovereigns of the land are not Cubans. The sovereigns of the land are not Peruvians. The sovereigns of the land are Nicaraguans. The sovereigns of the land are not Jamaicans. They're not the sovereigns of the land. The people are, but I'm talking about the names that they're using. TJ, this is a very important point. We're talking real time. We're talking now, real time. Into Terra Divina. That's Pope Alexander VI. Keep in mind, this is key. Queen Isabella and King Ferdinand married in November of 1463, united their kingdoms so that they can bring down the last Moorish stronghold in Granada. So on November 25th, 1491, Abu Muhammad signed the surrendering treaty, relinquishing Moorish sovereignty control over Granada to Queen Isabella and King Ferdinand. However, in signing the Treaty of Granada, Moors' personal rights were protected under that. This is key. Moors' personal rights are protected to this very day under that treaty. What's the problem, Abdullah? Philip II, King of Spain, in 1563, subjugated the Moors and classified the Moors as Spanish. The treaty don't read Spanish.
No.
The treaty doesn't read Spanish. It Moors. This is very important. I'm talking real time. We're talking now that these issues got to be addressed. This is why it's important to know who we are. And remember, I'm referencing a treaty that applies today to Moors. Once again, Moors. Once again, Moors. It doesn't protect Spanish personal rights. Moors. That's why Philip II classified us as Spanish. That's mass denationalization. That is not innocent. So by doing that, he removed the treaty protection. I'm talking real time now.
That's I laughed earlier because I just think about how fortunate I am because of just like my genealogy alone. Like my family has the first treaty with this new baby nation over here, which is the United States. When they were in their infancy, before they were acknowledged by the Moroccan treaty at that particular point. So that solidifies our position with them as they do certain things. And I'm also more by blood. And also in that particular region, I was reading the documentation that talks about that particular tribe of people who were identified as Moors in the Delaware region. And that's in the Delaware Code. It's like that. It's just understanding your ancestral ties and also the role your family had in these international relationships, I feel is important as well. Because like we can reduce the identity crisis, us joining up with other cliques and things like that, when people actually understand what it is going on. The reason why I carry my Bey is because I understand my bloodline, I understand my political allegiance, I understand my tribal allegiance. So on all fronts, and it's just like, it's not the same for everybody, but I feel like if you're going to align yourself with this frequency, you need to understand where it started from. Pre-1900s. I'm just saying respectfully, because it's much older than the Moorish Science Temple of America.
Absolutely. And that's in the, well, I don't want to get too much into that.
We don't got to get into that. I got my next question for you. All right, because it was amazing to me that right after we had the clubhouse, I go and I check the hallway on Clubhouse, and it's a birth certificate room, and then it's somebody saying something about this, and somebody saying something about this, and I just be like, do you even understand the position the United States is in, even just on the world stage? Do you understand what the United States is and who they pay to and where their funds go? I'm like, that matters when we start talking about commercial instruments and bonds and things like that. So as it pertains to the 14th Amendment and of the 14th Amendment, looking back at 1868, how would we analyze the birth certificate on an international scale?
All right. Remember that term, Postliminium?
Yes.
As you read in my book summary, Moors and Masonry Part 2. Now we're going back to Postliminium. This is where, once again, international law terms and concepts are very important so that we can analyze that 14th Amendment in that context, not in the context of United States legislation. You don't analyze the 14th Amendment in the context of United States legislation. You don't analyze the birth certificate in the context of legislation. I'm talking about analyzing in the context of international law dealing with war, captivity, and purchase of a people. Now, what is the remedy for that? It is not a legislation of a foreign power. All right, DJ, I come to your house. Or I knock the door down. I'm not knocking. I'm knocking the door down. and I'm taking over your house. You ain't got to go. In fact, you ain't going nowhere. You're in the captivity in your own house. That goes on for 10 years. I hold you in captivity in your own house. 10 years later, I write a decree allowing you, you were restricted for 10 years or where you can go in the house.
Mm-hmm.
You needed my permission to go in the refrigerator, to take a bath. You needed permission to do anything. I now write a decree that you no longer need my permission, yet I'm still in your house. That is not Postliminium. So DJ, not knowing Postliminium, restoration, he said, whoo, man, yo, honey, yo, man, we no longer need Abdullah's permission. Oh, man, whoo, man, we come a long way, man. Whoo, man, we no longer need Abdullah permission. But Abdullah's still in the house. You don't need Abdullah's permission, all right. But Abdullah is still in the house. He's still controlling. I'm saying, so what I'm getting at, DJ, is let's go to international law on the war dealing with captivity. Because now this is an issue of captivity. Remember, I've captured DJ. I'm holding DJ and his children and his wife in captivity. What is the restoration of that, Abdullah? How do I what does international law say to make DJ, his wife, and his children whole? That term is called Postliminium. It's not my writing anything, any legislation, any decree. Is to get my ass out of, step out, give him $5 million in his bank account, 2 new cars, the whole house restored. Now I leave, he got bank account, 2 new cars, house restored to the new roof, new everything. Food in the account, food in the refrigerator, new carpet, new paint job, new everything. Or moving to another house, bigger house. No, I'm just saying. This is why you see these. I'm stressing international law, because once you go there to that level, you start seeing things for a different playing field. We're looking at it in the eyes of our conqueror. That's not dealing with United States legislation. That's not restoring a people whom they have in captivity and who they gain through purchase.
I can say it like this: if utilizing Postliminium for someone who has evidence that they are pre-colonial, and for you to operate in this capacity on an international scale, let's say you start doing land acquisitions, you literally have lawfully proven that you hold one of the highest titles on this land and were the original people there. On an international level, operating in Postliminium, also showing that your people operated and controlled the land here, and also knowing legally, like, businesses can't own land. Like, that puts you in one of the best positions possible. I'm just thinking about all of, like you said, it's how you look at it on an international scale. And I'm thinking about my family situation. I'm like, we have land patents, understanding that land patents are international, birth certificates are international, because King James was the first to issue out a land patent over on this side to the Virginia Corporation. So you just like understanding, like, a lot of things that people are trying to deal with on federal levels didn't even come from the Fed. These are processes that they took from the Crown.
From the Crown. And DJ, and that not only are the process they take, they actually are using the same patents. But let's clear this up, DJ. All right. Let me clear this up. The charter of New Jersey, the charter of New York. The charter, North Carolina, Maryland, Delaware, South Carolina, Georgia, Rhode Island, Connecticut. Those charters. In those charters, drafted by the esquires under the king, the crown's authority, all right, signed by the crown, the various kings, all right, King George and King Charles I and King Charles II. Those charters, in those charters are the land boundaries for each area. Land boundaries, all right? So New Jersey State is operating same name, New Jersey Colony, New Jersey State, same name. Operating what? On what? The boundary markers of that's surveyed in the colony charter of New Jersey. I've said that as an example to show they're operating on the same pattern. The Treaty of Peace, the definitive peace treaty between Great Britain and the United States of 1783 is the supreme instrument for the United States and not the United States Constitution. The United States Constitution does not allow New Jersey, North Carolina, South Carolina, New Jersey State Constitution, Maryland State Constitution, Connecticut Constitution does not allow them to operate in those areas. It is the treaty, definitive peace treaty between Great Britain and the United States of 1783. That's why I went to that.
So it's safe to say that a lot of people been wasting their time.
Well, lack of knowledge, brother. 25 years.
Anyway, we could just say it like that.
Years of me. Shem Malachi Bey, my man.
I need to get Shem a call too. I ain't talked to him in a minute. But yeah, that's really what it boiled down to. All these years of people fighting with the Fed, the superior courts and stuff, is filing all these documents with these different departments and agencies.
It does recover lost sovereignty, TJ. We're spinning wheels. It doesn't recover our lost moral sovereignty. It doesn't bring Humpty Dumpty, who fell off the wall, back together again. I mean, it doesn't restore the Moroccan Empire. It doesn't re-enter. It doesn't put us in a position politically to re-enter the international community as an old and original state. It doesn't put us in political position to reestablish diplomacy with the treaty nations, France, Great Britain, Belgium, Netherlands, Sardinia, England, Dutch Republic, the Netherlands. It doesn't put us in political position. We're spinning wheels. As I said before, DJ, as you read in my book summary, Moors and Masonry Part 2, for 100 years, over 100 years, Moors, those who know they're Moors, have been attempting to recover lost moral sovereignty using the United States Constitution, United States laws, United States courts, United States agency. That is not in principle and harmony. That is erroneous. That is not in principle and harmony with the recovery of lost moral sovereignty of a nation that's been placed under conquest and subjugation. Improper procedure, false concepts of the recovery of lost sovereignty, of bringing the Moroccan Empire out of her 200-year period of extinction, collapse, disintegration, dismemberment. That's not how you do it. It's a lack of knowledge. DJ, they won't take long, DJ. This doesn't take long. But when you rattle with misconcepts upon misconcepts for 100 years, talk to me.
So I've had you close to an hour now, and we've been able to get through most of my questions. And like I've learned more than I learned last time. Like the Postliminium is possibly one of the most important aspects that I feel should be implemented into households more before you can implement it into a nation, you know?
You got it, brother. You got the concept. That's my whole point. That's why I'm teaching it. That's my whole point. That you understand the concept.
Yeah, because you got to start. You got to start small and scale up. It's how do we, and we can't come together if we don't even understand the concept ourselves, like on the micro
Absolutely.
level. When
Absolutely.
Postliminium becomes a household thing within our community, like sovereignty, paperwork processes, and stuff like
Mhm.
that, we'll see a change because we'll start seeing people petitioning on an international level in order to have things done, and then
And done, be
international.
done in a government structure, be done in a Moorish government structure.
Mm-hmm. It will have to be because, and that's something that the American Indian community is going to have to be okay with as well, because you have to understand we're British subjects, and you have to understand the treaties in place and that they also made Moors and Indians synonymous. And I am Lenape, like blood down chief descendant, but under Moorish treaties and also the way that they did laws, they made Moors and Indians synonymous. My family specifically was attached to that. So when these parts get real clear, I was like, it will reduce the infighting and we'll actually be able to get some traction and move forward.
Once again, thank you for this platform, brother. Really appreciate you.
Bro, anytime. I appreciate you all the time. And I'm just really looking forward to getting this in people, this knowledge in people's brains, so then we can start actually getting them in a position to where they understand what your family constitution looks like, having your family trust in place, your family office, your family tribal situation in order, and then you branch out, you make treaties with these other tribes, then you make a nation, and then these nations understand what jurisdiction they fall under, and then we come to the table with Shem proposal, we bring the heads, boom, 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 and then we handle our business. It's really, you have to be involved in. And I have a few younger brothers in multiple states who are Moors, who have interest in aligning with the proposal, because some of them were in the room. And they do a lot of good work, and they teach people, and they're doing good things. So, like I said, anybody who I know who is on the proper frequency, because I know how you and Shamar as well. Anybody who I know got their stuff in order, I'm for sure gonna send them your way.
Well, since you mentioned the proposal, let me explain the proposal.
Go ahead.
All right. Sheikh Malachi Bey proposes. It's a proposal of a facilitation of a formation of a Moorish intergovernmental alliance. That means the various Moorish heads convene and sign an instrument as an agreement to show the world through political legitimacy, and that we have formed a political alliance to work together. All right. And then from there, the heads will agree to form a Moorish Imperial Parliament Council and draft a national constitution. Now, this would have to be a provisional government. Let me explain. And now we're talking political science. I'm combining political science and international law. I'm combining. You have political legitimacy. It's a term used in political science. Provisional government is a term also used in political science and taught in political science. A provisional government is a temporary, which means that if we have, let's say 100 Moorish body politics with 100 heads, which constitutes 10,000 or 20 or 50,000 of us, all right, being represented. Now, it would have to be Postliminium, a provisional government, because millions of our people at that point will still be unconscious. It would be a provisional government, and that would be outlined as we will show the international community as a provisional government, maybe for a year or two. All right, and we will have outlined in that provisional instrument, all right, on the things, the extensive outreach that we will have, how we will facilitate a national plebiscite through national education all right, and continue to build political structure, that we will establishing this Moorish intergovernmental alliance and this Moorish Imperial Parliament Council, and then as a provisional government, a temporary government, that we will be able to address on the international level mass denationalization of our people, genocide.
I do recommend that it is some notes that we should take from the United States structure as far as the manner how which they elect officials, how they vote for these officials, how they have selected terms for how they run. Because that for sure is something that we need to integrate in, because out of the heads, those heads should be allotted a position to, you know, run for a form of representing us, because we're going to need one representative, and we let the people decide.
This is why I'm saying a provisional, because you can be in harmony with Postliminium, or not Postliminium, with political legitimacy. Okay. Political legitimacy, because you're going to have to facilitate a plebiscite. Means a plebiscite would be a national vote where a national constitution is drafted. You know, a second constitution is drafted. All right, after a period of a year or two, and after do a plebiscite whereby millions of our people will vote on that. All right, that's what I'm saying. So it's understanding, DJ, political science, political philosophy, and international law combined. I'm talking all three.
People got some work cut out for them. It's like, it's just like when you think you got it, and then it just be like, oh, shucks. Because that's where a lot of people but also you have to learn to have patience with this, because nobody knows it all. And like even me in my years of study,
I'm still learning.
I'm still learning. I'm adjusting. I'm pivoting. This is like, you know, you learn how to play the game, and you move when you got to move, and you adjust when you have to, in order so you can always keep yourself in a position to win and make the best move. And that's just all people got to learn. Like, things are going to change. You're going to have to be comfortable changing with it if you want to learn how to succeed in this world.
We got to continue. We got to continue to elevate our people. We got to move on this, DJ.
I'm with it. I'm for it. And I do recommend that you all take any of Brother Abdullah's courses that he's offering. I know the jurist courses, they were amazing. I had sent a couple people over there, and they spoke so highly of the coursework. And just on the international law aspect, Brother Abdullah been sending me information for a while. He always send me information and I read it. I don't know if you be knowing I be reading it, but I open up all the stuff he sent me and I read and I review it. And whenever we get the chance, we talk about it. And the information he has sent me has helped me to be able to structure my family situation out better than my grandparents did. And I'm talking about the chiefs of my family. I'm talking about King Tammany, Chief White Eyes, because of the knowledge that I have been fortunate enough to come across. I can put my family on an international level versus them just having to deal with the United States. Because that's as far as our treaty dealings went initially, until like they got, no, I don't mean it like that just to wave my hand. My family is recognized as sovereigns, but on a federal level. And that's not, you understand? That's not enough. You feel me? That's why I'm like, I can move us to the next tier. I've been gifted this knowledge.
Yeah. Let me explain. Let me talk about Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Joe Biden is proposing to bring the native people of Hawaii under federal recognition. Let me explain. They don't want that. My brother and sister, native people, please. No. You don't want that.
No. I know plenty of people who don't want federal recognition.
That is not Postliminium. Let's go. That's what I'm saying. That is not Postliminium. Once the United States knocked down their house, United States kicked the door in, poof, invaded, led under the financial typhoon Richard Dole. Richard Dole who had a lot of influence, the Dole pineapples, led the influence of the kick down of the door of Hawaii. That is an invasion.
Mm-hmm.
The Queen of Hawaii never signed anything. The Queen of Hawaii did not sign a cession treaty, a surrendering treaty. She didn't sign anything. That is an invasion. It's illegal. Now, so that is not postliminium, which means the federalization recognizing them in that status does not restore where they were before, led by Richard Dole, the kick down of Hawaii's door. That doesn't put them back into the position where they were before that. But keep in mind.
No, that's what I'm saying. Postliminium, only way you're going to get that is if you go beyond federal. Because you have to go beyond the colonization, the interaction of when those people were here. And the only thing that was there was it was a world court. It's just that we weren't completely knowledgeable about it over here in the Americas because we were. I'm not to say that we weren't primitive or anything, but we weren't dealing in paperwork and stuff like that at a particular time over in the Americas. Like we were writing things on walls, but then we have the Moors who are knowledgeable, establishing language, law, and all of these, and they come over here and intermix with us. So we still have a level, we've always had a level of protection that preceded it's not like the United States came over here and made us safe.
I mean, and it was what these people are. Well, the United States didn't come anywhere. So that's we want to put that. We got to put that part. United States didn't come anywhere because United States didn't exist in 14, 15, 1600s.
Well, it's not like those subjects came over here and established the United States just to protect us.
All right.
No, because that's not the case.
Just like if you're saying is the subject of Great Britain didn't just come over here, just come to protect us. That's it.
No, it was already in. We already were. We were well capable of taking care of ourselves. We were warring with these people. Yeah. And it's just like people do get to a point where they do want to stop warring. But I also feel like if we were completely knowledgeable over here, we wouldn't have dealt with those particular subjects because we would understand they was running from something. And I feel like that's really where they got over on us. Because how were some of us supposed to know the relationship that they had over there with their mother when we're just concerned about the relationship we have here? So they come over here and we end up actually getting involved in some of their wars with the nation because we don't know in some situations. We only know what they tell us.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're here. But no, it's a lot to think about. But I'm truly thankful for you coming on, Brother Abdullah, and I'm looking forward to the next time. Do you have any closing statements for the people? And can you shout out the website for the book too? You
have I'm going to put that up there. Moors and Masonry. Go to moorsandmasonry.org to order the Moors and Masonry Part 1, which has been out since December 2016. We have the Masonic Compass, the Square, and the Connection and Measurement and Timekeeping that's been out since that was released in October of 2018. We have How Her Moon and Venus Rule, which was released in September 2019. We have my etymology, and we have etymology and vocabulary book, Supplement You One, that actually was been released in 2006, and that actually with a new cover and new layout design put out in 2000, reissued in 2019 as well as 2021. Then we have the Illuminati and Illumination of the Mind, which actually came out before Moors and Masonry Part 1. That was in May of 2016. All right, so you can also pre-order Moors and Masonry Part 2. You can pre-order Moors and Masonry Part 2. Once again, go to Moors and Masonry, Moors, the word and masonry.org. moorsandmasonry.org. I want to thank you. And also, DJ, we have Wednesday classes. We have the Moroccan Post News. You can go to Moroccan Post News YouTube page to view other classes. We have the Moorish body politic formation classes on Moroccan Post News Moroccan Post News YouTube page. And every Wednesday, Moroccan Post News has the law, history, and law and history class Wednesdays from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right. So it's a live Zoom link, live Zoom class, and the class will be uploaded the same night after the class. All right, and uploaded to the Moroccan Post News YouTube page, Moroccan Post News YouTube page. Also, we also on Moroccan Post is also on Crumb TV. So you go to Crumb TV YouTube page, view those videos of myself, Shem Malachi Bey. All right. So we had a guest, Brother Massa and Brother Elamar this past Sunday.
I've seen that one.
Yes. So definitely. So I'll see y'all tomorrow. All right. That's every Wednesday, live on the Zoom. All right, from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Once again, go to mooresandmasonry.org to get your books.
Well, peace, Brother Abdullah. Once again, it is always an honor and a pleasure. In order for just to be able to build with you, it's not often I learn from people in today's society. So I'm always thankful for that. And I'm always looking to, expand myself and my mind. So that's the reason why I do stay so closely towards you, because I know you're a very well-studied brother and you are doing things in order to make sure that we as the Moroccan Empire, the nation, the melanated people, put ourselves in a position we truly should be in. And I'm thankful for you and for that.
Thank you. Thank you again. I once again shout out to Shem Malachi Bey.
Yes, shout out to Shem.
Brother. I learned a lot from him over the past 3 years. We learned from each other, and just be bounced off each other, with my knowledge of etymology and ancient history, and Shem's knowledge of treaty studies. As far as I didn't have the knowledge, I had the historical knowledge of the treaties that I have in Moorish Masonry, but Shem gave me the political aspect, law, be able to show that those treaties can be used today. And I was just in the historical mindset of them as I was doing research and writing Moorish Masonry Part 1. But over the past 3.5 years, with the study of treaty cases, with detailed studies on going through legislation, the legislative body, and how to enforce the treaty, through Moorish government structure. All right, the diplomacy and diplomatic channels, understanding the right diplomatic channels to enforce the treaty. All right, so Shem has a lot of information, and like I said, the class, man, that we'll be dealing with that in detail on the Wednesday Zoom class. Once again, every Wednesday, 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, and we'll have the Zoom link in the uploaded for that. Thank you.
Oh, well, no, thank you again, brother. And like I said, I'll make sure I'll be directing more students over to your class as usual.
Yes.
Well, peace. Bro, I'm over here counting this bread. I keep the faces down. It don't matter. It don't matter. When I say I do, it's just like sometimes you have to move to the money, because money is like a woman, bro. Money will do what it has to do, but it don't want to work too hard to get it done. You feel me? So you gotta meet it halfway there. Like that's like the easiest way I can say it. You feel me? Speaking of which, this my CFO calling. That means you back, bro. Jay-Z, data transmission, Bill Gates, ain't no Peace. What's going on?
Calling with a couple updates. So, as expected, we're over the budget for that event.
How much?
About $5,000.
That's it? I guess.
Thankfully, we got a couple more clients that need more funding. So we gotta get on that too.
All right, sound like a plan. Well, let's get to it.